In this video, we will see the next subtopic from the chapter Real Numbers. And the next subtopic is Fundamental Theorem of Arithmetic. What does this fundamental theorem say? It says that every composite number can be expressed, in other words factorized, as a product of primes, and this factorization is unique apart from the order in which the prime factors occur. So it says, fundamental theorem of arithmetic says that every composite number which is there, it can be expressed in terms of product of prime numbers. Okay, and the way or this product of prime numbers that you express a composite number, or this factorization that you get, is unique. So that composite number cannot be expressed in as product of primes of any other prime numbers. So this factorization is unique except for the order in which the prime factors occur. For example, if you have say 24, then the 4 into 6 is 24. And what are the prime factors? Prime factors are factors which are prime numbers. So I cannot write 24 as 4 multiplied by 6 because 4 and 6 are not prime numbers, they are composite numbers. So again I have to further divide or further break down 4 and 6 and write them as prime numbers. So this 4 will be 2 multiplied by 2 and 6 will be 2 multiplied by 3. So now all these are prime numbers. So 24 can be expressed in this form. So that this what is there, or this factorization which is there, is said to be unique. Okay, except for the order. What do you mean by except for the order? I can also write this as 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by, this way also it can be written. It's one and the same thing. So apart from that, this, or I can write this products in any order. Apart from that, you cannot express 24 as product of any other prime numbers except these which are there. But the order in which you write numbers or these primes can be changed. So this is what is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So in general, if I want to write the fundamental theorem of arithmetic, it says that given a composite number x, we factorize it as, suppose you have a composite number x, then I can factorize it as p1 multiplied by p2 multiplied by p3 multiplied by so on multiplied by pn. Okay, where p1, p2, p3, pn are all primes and they are written in ascending order. Okay, these prime numbers are written in ascending order. Means what? Your p1 should be less than or it can be equal to p2, less than or equal to p3, less than or equal to p4, and less than or equal to pn. So we just saw an example with 24. They can be repeated, they can be less than or equal to. So you saw that this is the factorization or prime factorization of 24, and you can see it is written in ascending order. So first all the two should come, and then your 3 or any other number which is there, those higher numbers should come after this. So that is what the fundamental theorem of arithmetic says. Also, what we can do is we can combine the same types of or same prime numbers which are there. We can combine them together and write. For example, if you have 24 here, 2 is repeated how many times? 3 times. So I can write it as 2 cube. Okay, since 2 is repeated 3 times, it can be written as 2 cube multiplied by, this is 3, only 1 3. So we can combine the same primes. Now where is fundamental theorem of arithmetic used? Basically, fundamental theorem of arithmetic is used to find LCM and HCF of the integers or numbers that are given to you. Now we will solve some examples to see how the prime factorization method or the fundamental theorem of arithmetic can be used to find or solve some problems. Let us take the first example. The first example says, express each number as a product of its prime factors. So let us see how we can express a number as the product of the prime factors. So now I'll take this, 2 sevens is 14, 0, then 2 threes are 6, 2 fives are 10, then 5 sevens are 35, 7 ones are 7. So you have to end here. So what are your prime factors? The prime factors are 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 7. Now we can combine the primes of the same type. So this can be written as 2 square multiplied by 5 multiplied by 7. So this is how you express a given number as the product of its primes. Now let us take the second example. In the second example it says, find the LCM and HCF of the following pairs of integers and verify that LCM multiplied by HCF is equal to product of the two numbers. So this is a very important thing that you have to consider, and this result which is there, okay, it holds true only for two numbers. Only when I have to take LCM and HCF of two numbers, this formula or this statement which is there, it holds true. If I have three numbers, then LCM multiplied by HCF of three numbers is not equal to product of the three numbers. So this is true only for product of two numbers. So let us see how to find this. Now the two numbers that are given to you are 336 and 54. Now let us find the prime factors of 336, and the prime factors of 336 are, okay, on solving this I get these as my prime factors. So let us write it down. So they are 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 2's multiplied by 3 multiplied by 7. Now I can group these together. So I get this equal to 2 raised to 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 7. Similarly, let us find the prime factors of 54. On finding, I get the prime factors of 54 as 2 multiplied by 3 into 3 into 3. This is equal to 2 multiplied by 3 raised to 3, because there are 3 3's here. Now the next step is, you look at both the factors of both the numbers. So if you see which are the factors, which are all the factors, you can see 2 is one of the factors, then you have 3 and 7, correct? So these are the three different factors of both the numbers. So now I have to express each of these numbers in this form. Okay. Now you know 336 is 2 raised to 4 multiplied by 3 raised to 1 multiplied by 7 raised to 1. Now 54 was 2 multiplied by 3 cube. But it doesn't have the factor 7. Means what? This can be written as 2 raised to 1 multiplied by 3 cube multiplied by 7 raised to 0. Correct? 7 raised to 0 is 1. So instead of writing that 1, I can write it as 7 raised to 0. So all the factors you have to show in both the numbers. Okay. After that you have to find HCF. Now HCF of a number is the least power of the factor. Now you look at the factors. 2 is one of the factors. Which is the least power of 1? 4 or 1? Which is the least power of 2? 4 or 1? 1. So you take 2 raised to 1. Now look at 3. Which is the least power of 3? 3 raised to 1 will be the least power. So take multiplied by 3. Now which is the least power here? 7 raised to 0. What is 7 raised to 0? 7 raised to 0 is 1. So my HCF will be 3 into 2, which is 6. Now how to find LCM? LCM, you have to take the highest power of the factor. So which is the highest power of 2 here? Highest power is 4. So I have to take 2 raised to 4 multiplied by, which is the highest factor of 3? 3 cube. So 3. So I have to take 3 cube multiplied by 3 cube multiplied by, which is the highest power of 7? 1. So I have to take 7 raised to 1. So your LCM will be 2 raised to 4 multiplied by 3 cube multiplied by 7. On solving, I get LCM is equal to 3024. The second part of the question, they have asked to verify whether LCM multiplied by HCF is equal to product of the two numbers. Now what is LCM multiplied by HCF? 3024 multiplied by 6. Okay, and sorry, yes, 3024 multiplied by 6, and this is equal to 18,144. And then when you find the product of the two numbers, so you have to find the product of the numbers 336 and 54. So when you find the product of these two numbers, you get this equal to 18144. So it is the same, right? Therefore product of two numbers is equal to HCF multiplied by LCM. Now let us look at the second example or third type of example. Find the LCM and HCF of the following integers by applying prime factorization method. So here also you have to find LCM and HCF of the integers, but here three integers are given to you. So let us see how it can be found. 12 is equal to 4 multiplied by 3. So it can be written as 2 into 2 into 3. 15 is 3 into 5. 21 is 3 into 7. Now what are all the different factors here? 2, 3, 5 and 7 are the different factors. So each number should be expressed in terms of all the factors. So let us see how it can be done. Now this can be written as 2 square multiplied by 3 raised to 1. Now it doesn't have 5 here. So if I want to introduce 5, it will be multiplied by 5 raised to 0, and 7 is also not there. So it will be 7 raised to 0. Similarly, what will be 15? 15 here 2 is not there. So this is equal to 2 raised to 0, then 3 raised to 1, 5 raised to 1, 7 is not there. So 7 raised to 0. If you want, you can list down all the factors here. 2, 3, 5 and 7 are the factors. So each number should be expressed in terms of the factors. Now 21 is 3 and 7. 2 is not there and 5 is not there. So I can write this as 2 raised to 0, 3 raised to 1, 5 raised to 0 and 7 raised to 1. Now what will be the HCF? HCF is the least of all the factors. So it is 2 raised to 0 multiplied by 3. All have the same. So 3 raised to 1 multiplied by least is 5 raised to 0. So multiplied by 5 raised to 0, and the least is 7 raised to 0. Okay. So what is the HCF? 2 raised to 0 is 1. 5 raised to 0 is 1 and 7 raised to 0 is 1. So the only number is 3 raised to 1. So HCF is 3. What is the LCM? LCM you have to take the highest. So it is 2 square multiplied by 3 raised to 1 multiplied by 5 raised to 1 multiplied by 7 raised to 1. And on solving, I get LCM is equal to 420. Now let us take the fourth example. Given that HCF of 306 and 657 is equal to 9, find LCM of 306 and 657. Now you are given HCF and LCM you have to find. But you know one result which says HCF multiplied by LCM is equal to product of the two numbers. Now using this I can find the answer, or I can find the LCM, right? What is HCF? HCF is 9 multiplied by LCM you have to find. So multiplied by LCM is equal to, which are the two numbers? 306 multiplied by 657. So your LCM will be 306 multiplied by 657 upon 9. And on solving I get LCM as 22,338. Now let us see the fifth problem. Fifth problem says, check whether the number 4 raised to n where n is a natural number can end with the digit 0. So you have to check whether the number 4 raised to n ends with 0. Now if the number 4 raised to n were to end with 0, okay, if the number ends with 0, then it should be divisible by 10, right? So you know the number 50, 60, 70, all these numbers which are ending with 0 are divisible by 10. So if the given number ends with 0, then it should be divisible by 10. Now which are the factors of 10? Factors of 10 are 2 and 5. So the given number should also be divisible by 2 as well as 5. Okay. If the number 4 raised to n were to end with the digit 0, then it should be divisible by 10, or it should be divisible by 2 and 5, both 2 as well as 5. Okay, that is, the prime factorization of 4 raised to n should contain the primes 5 and 2. So you know that if the number 50 ends with 0, so it should be divisible by 10, right? Or 50 can be written as 5 multiplied by 10. Okay, this is 2 multiplied by 5, okay, multiplied by 5, right? 10 can be written as 2 multiplied by 5. So you see, in the prime factorization of 50, it should have 2 and 5, okay, both. So at least 1, 2 and 1, 5 it should have. Okay, therefore the prime factorization of 4 raised to n should contain the primes 5 and 2. So 4 raised to n, if you see, can be written as 2 square. 4 is 2 square. So 2 square raised to n, this is equal to 2 raised to 2n, correct? This I can write as 2n. Now this means, what are the factors of 4? The only prime factor of 4 is 2. There is no other prime factor. So the only prime number in the factorization of 4 raised to n is 2. Therefore 4 raised to n is not divisible by 5. So our condition is it should be divisible by 2 and 5. Now since it is not divisible by 5, 4 raised to n cannot end with the digit 0. So this is how we have to solve given any other number in place of 4. Now let us solve the sixth problem. The sixth problem says, there is a circular path around a sports field. Sonia takes 18 minutes to drive one round of the field, while Ravi takes 12 minutes for the same. Suppose they both start at the same point and at the same time and go in the same direction. After how many minutes will they meet again at the starting point? Now there is a circular field, okay, circular path around the field, and suppose Sonia starts to drive from here. Then to drive from here, okay, and reach back to the point, she takes 12 minutes. Okay, one round. To drive one round, she takes 18 minutes. Whereas Ravi takes 12 minutes to reach or to go one round. Now they both are starting at the same point and they are both, okay, starting at the same time. At the same time they will start. Then you have to find after how many minutes, okay, will they meet again at the starting point. So they have to meet again at the starting point, means they have to complete the round. So after how many minutes will they complete this round? Okay, they will meet at the starting point after how many minutes? So it is like saying, if you have two numbers, say 3 and say 12, then you have to find all the multiples of 3 and find all the multiples of 12 and see which is common. Means what? When you keep on finding the multiples here, you have to see where the multiples are same. So in other words, you see at which point they meet. Means here also at this point they meet. Means they have the same common multiple. So in other words, here you have to find the least common multiple. Okay, so let us see how it is done. Ravi takes lesser time than Sonia for completing one round of the field, right? Ravi takes 12 minutes and Sonia takes 18 minutes. Now the total time for completing this one round will be LCM of time taken by Ravi and Sonia to complete one round. So what is the LCM of 12 and 18? 12 is 2 multiplied by 3 into 3, which is 2 into 3 square, and 18 is this, and 12 is 2 square multiplied by 3. And what is the LCM of 12 and 18? LCM of 12 and 18 is, you have to take the highest, so 2 square and 3 square, which is 4 multiplied by 9, 36. So Ravi and Sonia will meet at the starting point after 36 minutes.